What do people really think about Aboriginal Australians?
As I see them every day drinking.
Get off your ass and do something if you want to escape your plight.
I don't think you can just uproot culture.
Years they'd lived in harmony on their land.
Frankly, it should have died out, like the Stone Age.
I don't connect to that. It's their land and we've taken it from them. Happened a long time ago. We all need to move on.
There's just been too much BS about Aboriginality, culture.
We love to be disrespectful to other people's culture and races. It's almost like sport.
6 out of 10 Australians have had little or no contact with Indigenous people. This group of well-known Australians represents that 6 out of 10. All with strong opinions, they've agreed to leave their everyday lives behind and embark on a unique journey deep into Aboriginal Australia.
Here we go, people.
Actress Nikki Went.
All I know is that if I'm in a mall and there's 30 black guys and me, I'm frightened.
Singer-songwriter Natalie Imbruglia.
I want to get the truth. I don't just want to be spoon-fed an opinion.
Television personality Ian Dicko Dixon.
What happens if I find out I'm just a dirty big racist?
Former Miss Universe Australia Renee Ayres.
I've been spat on, I've been abused, and that's all I've seen from them.
Comedian Tom Ballard.
We live in a progressive society, and progressive societies care about the most vulnerable and disadvantaged people.
Former One Nation politician David Oldfield.
Aboriginality is just unnecessary. It's not really in the best interests of Aboriginal people.
Guiding this group of outspoken Aussies is award-winning journalist Ray Martin.
These 6 people have no idea where they're going or what's in store for them.
Get it up there!
But given their strong opinions...
Taking someone on face value is evidence.
It's certainly going to be challenging, if not confronting.
Enough is enough.
If you feel uncomfortable with me being here, I will just as happily leave your land.
For 28 days, the 6 will face their fears in a world they'd never imagined they'd see.
Everyone should go down that way. Big crocodile out there.
The group's preconceptions will be challenged.
I'm in jail.
They'll be tested in extraordinary situations.
As far as I can see, it wasn't reacting. I thought that maybe it was dead.
Their beliefs confronted.
Forcibly removed.
How is that right?
Well, it's not right.
Their emotions pushed to the limits.
I've got a fucking heart. You're not going to change a freaking thing.
For the next 3 nights,
Open your eyes.
follow 6 Australians on a journey that could change their lives forever.
This is probably the worst toilet in Australia.
I didn't think I'd see people living this rough.
So you don't have anyone in here with a life sentence?
We might do.
Oh, is that his guts back there? It's quite confronting, isn't it?
To what end? What is the
So you don't
motivation?
care if it's not true, is that what you're telling me?
No, it fucked up his life.
Just because you're willing to turn a blind eye to people.
This is crap. Get out of my house. I don't want you here.
The 6 travellers have been told that they'll be immersed into Aboriginal Australia for the next 4 weeks. Other than that, they know nothing about the journey that lies ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to have you here. Now, for the next 28 days, you're going on an amazing journey around the country. And you'll get a sense of what it's like to be an Aboriginal Australian. A sort of crash course. Let me tell you, it's not going to be easy. I think some things you'll see and hear will probably shock you, maybe even appall you. Are you ready for that, Nikki?
I have to admit, I'm a little shocked when you say you're prepared to be shocked.
Are you scared?
I am. And I've been scared about it for a few weeks, actually. I've been quite jumpy. I've been waking up very early in the morning.
What about the poorest people in Australia, the sickest people in Australia? You ready for that?
I don't think so, but we'll see.
Dicko, what about you? Why have you come? What answers are you looking for?
I'm not looking for answers, Ray. I'd settle for a few better questions, frankly. And the thing that's terrifying me is because I'm a realist, you know, I might find myself falling into some ugly attitudes.
Ugly attitudes?
Yeah.
Like what, racist?
Well, you hear it all the time. I hear some very soft, dismissive attitudes towards Indigenous Australia. And most of it's based on ignorance. I know mine is.
I wonder, has anyone met an Aboriginal person?
I haven't had a conversation with an Aboriginal person. I could count on one hand the amount I've seen in the distance in the street.
Does it appall you that you don't know? You're an Aussie and you're the age you are and you don't know?
I carry a lot of guilt and a lot of shame around the issue, for sure.
Now, when you flew in today, you flew into the Ayers Rock Airport. In fact, your ticket said Sydney to Ayers Rock. Now, this is not Ayers Rock, this is Uluru. This is the sacred land of the Anangu people. They own this. We had to get their permission to meet with you here today. And I wonder how you feel about this. Tom, to you?
Well, certainly, I think the connection that Indigenous people have with the land is undeniable. It was continuous, and the vast majority of Australians live on stolen land.
Renee, you looked a little askance at stolen land.
Yeah, I don't like the word stolen land.
Neither do they, probably.
I know, and I just... So this is why I want more of an understanding. I don't know why I don't like it, but I just don't.
So when it comes to Aboriginal people on the scale between tolerant and racist, where would you put yourself?
I don't think I'm racist in any sense of the word, not in the word as I understand it to be.
Former politician and co-founder of One Nation, David Oldfield is best known as Pauline Hanson's former right-hand man. As far as he's concerned, Aboriginality has no place in the modern world.
There's just been too much BS about Aboriginality, culture, 60,000, 80,000, 50,000 years. There's just been too much BS attached to all of that. Is there something celebratory? You lived in the Stone Age longer than anybody else? Well, I can't see it. It's not actually good for Aborigines to remain Aborigines. They should be Australians. And you just naturally let it die out. I mean, frankly, it should have died out, like the Stone Age died out.
Over the next 4 weeks, you're going to see places and meet people that'll blow you away. But let me leave you a couple of basic facts. For an Aboriginal woman, she's at least 35 times more likely to experience domestic violence or family violence than a non-Aboriginal woman. 35 times more. And for an Indigenous person, they're almost 3 times more likely to commit suicide than someone like you. Now, the core of the problem is poverty and booze and depression. I told you it's going to be confronting. Now, you're about to fly 1,000 kilometres north from here, up to the Kimberley in WA. That's a place that's rich in culture, but also has the basic entrenched problems. So I want you to jump in the bus now and begin this long and bumpy journey. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
The group's heading to the town of Kununurra in the Kimberley. With a mixed population of around 8,000, the Aboriginal community here is battling against the scourges of alcohol, family violence, and suicide. Renee is unwell, so it's left to the other 5 to imagine what awaits them.
I'm anticipating noise, I'm anticipating fighting, I'm anticipating people passed out, people calling me names, calling us names, looking at, what are you looking at?
Nikki Wentz barely spent any time with Aboriginal people.
Oh, yes.
But as a privileged actress, she's convinced she'll have little in common.
Line placement. My head goes straight to the cliche. You know, the guy in the flannel shirt and the beanie and the thongs going straight down to the bottle shop and... Well, we're culturally very different. We have different priorities. I floss and brush twice a day without fail. Hair's going to be different. We're going to smell different.
Honing in on the differences, Nikki's honest about her negative feelings.
I suppose if pushed, I would have to say I have had racist thoughts about Aboriginal people. Yes. I don't hate them. I don't love them. But maybe I don't care or think enough about them.
Nikki and the rest of the group have been invited to spend a night at the town's sobering up shelter.
Hi,
How are you?
welcome, Tanya.
Tanya, I'm Dicko.
It's staffed by an all-Aboriginal team who also run a patrol service picking up the drunk and the vulnerable. It seems Nikki's fears are about to be realised.
Thank you for coming here and welcome to Morong Sobering Up Shelter and Night Patrol. Last night we had around about 20 clients, so we might be expecting that tonight. We'll pick up people that might have passed out on the side of the road in danger of getting run over. We get domestic violence as well, so women who have had a hard time out in the streets, they can't go into the crisis centre. They've had a few drinks. You need to be sober to go into the crisis centre, so they'll come here. These people have some really bad days, and often they'll have bad days every day. So maybe we'll get Dicko and Nikki on the bus first, and then the rest of us will start cooking soup.
It's not long before Nikki's meeting the people the patrol team helps. One of the shelter's clients, Grandmother Rosie, has asked to be dropped off at a relative's house.
We're going to take you there. Rosie Gallagher. It's Rosie Gallagher. She's calling you. Do you know her?
That's my cousin.
Your cousin?
Hi,
Hi, sorry. Are we leaving, Rosie?
Yeah. She's right, she's okay.
Are we sure?
Yeah, we talked to Brian.
Back at the shelter, Nikki's uncaring attitude to Aboriginal people is further tested by one of the patrol team, Elaine, who wants to share her story.
I lost my mum through alcohol, my dad through alcohol, my daughter early this year, just after her 24th birthday, she committed suicide.
And you still don't know why?
No, I blame it on alcohol.
So you have that, and then your nephew?
Yeah, after we buried my daughter, 5 days after that, he hung himself. That was that Wednesday. Friday, my brother must have passed away in his sleep, because Saturday morning he wouldn't wake up.
So you can work here with all that's happened in your life and all that loss in such a short time, and yet you dedicate your time to looking after other people.
Instead of be home dwelling on all went on, being here keep me very occupied, keep my mind off stuff.
Yeah. I don't know how Elaine's going to get through that life. To lose her daughter, her nephew and her brother in the space of a month. That's probably one of the most resilient human beings I've ever met in my life. She's taught me something personally anyway, and that is to just stop whinging. Everyone's got it worse, no matter what it is. Everyone's got something worse, and she'd be the first to say it. She'd be the first to say, oh, but we have to go and help, you know, Rosie or something.
As Dicko and Nikki await the next call-out,
Quarters, yeah?
over in the kitchen, 3 of the group are helping out Elaine prepare the soup of the day.
All in this one?
Reason why we only make the soup for them is something soft. It's because when they're intoxicated, we just frighten they might choke. If it's a meat, they might just vomit in their sleep.
For 20 years, singer Natalie Imbruglia lived in London and toured the world. She's found few opportunities to come into contact with Indigenous Australians.
Whenever I travel and people ask me about Aboriginal people and their culture, it's with such warmth, and I always feel slightly embarrassed that I have no first-hand experience, and it is something that bothers me.
Despite never having talked to an Indigenous person, Natalie's always maintained a love of Aboriginal culture.
For me, it's such an important part of our heritage that it should be protected, their art, their music, their Dreamtime stories, and all of those things, which had such a big impact on me at school in my childhood and made me fall in love with their culture.
But Natalie's ideas about Aboriginal culture are about to be challenged as the night patrol team takes a break.
I do like how the young boys go to law. I'm not like, you know,
when they're initiated.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and it changes them. But I notice that when the young boys come back, you know, like they can tell the young girls what to do.
They have a sense that will become a man.
Yeah.
But did you catch the part about how the boys are initiated and then they can come back and tell the young girls what to do? Did you get that bit?
Well, like, yeah, it's like, because, you know, like, not that
Not
the girls
tell
really
the girls
listen.
what to do.
That's exactly what the lady said.
Yeah.
It's exactly what she said.
Not that the girls listen all that much.
Oh, not that they listen all that much.
She meant they come back as a man with authority. That was her point.
Yeah, and some
You're taking her literally.
No, what?
Well,
you're getting specific on words.
The lady was saying that it's good that the young boys are initiated and then they have the sense of pride of feeling that they're a man. No, but the question then is what a man thinks of themselves and then does. And the next part of it was that they come back and tell the young girls what to do. Now, that's not acceptable in the society that you and I come from.
I know that with the women, they're stronger now, and the girls are getting stronger, and they say to the boys, you know, no. And now that they have women law now, and the young girls go out with the old women.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
When we started the journey, Natalie, you acknowledged you'd never met an Aboriginal person and you were concerned that your belief as a child in the dream time might turn out not to be the dream time and the Aboriginal people living in harmony and everything that you think it is. And that's what you're starting to find out. But you're in a bit of denial about some of it.
Am I, David?
Well, it seems that way. And we're going to find out that it's not roses and honey.
As tensions rise, the reality of life here will now be revealed to one of the group. In Kununurra, it's Tom's turn to join the team out on patrol. A local Aboriginal man's been found unconscious in the town's park.
Wayne, wake up. Come on. Hey. Wayne, we're here now. We're here now to pick you up. Right, we got you.
Walk along slowly to the bus here.
For 26-year-old Tom, it's a shocking introduction to the realities of alcohol abuse in remote Australia.
I thought he could have been dead when I saw him collapse.
Sometimes when we do get off, you think that they are, because they just lay so still. Yeah, but he's lucky the kids, the main thing is he's lucky the kids didn't come up.
Right.
He had lots of money in his jacket.
Yeah.
And they would tip all his stuff out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Or take off with this.
All right.
One of the patrol team's regular clients, Wayne, will be given a bed for the night at the shelter.
No, Wayne, it's okay. It's okay now, we're going to take you to shelter. You're right. You're right.
Wayne.
You're right, bro?
Elaine, Wayne has his money in that jacket.
For Tom, this is a long way from the comedy circuit in Melbourne.
Made it. But fuck, I thought he was dead. I thought that they, when I saw someone collapsed in front of a walker in the middle of a park, I thought, yeah, that could, and they were trying to shake him awake, and as far as I could see, he wasn't reacting. I thought that maybe he was dead, and I thought that was where the night was going. So that's the most intense thing I've ever done, really, and to see that up close is pretty extraordinary. I'm Tom, and I really hope you're okay, yeah?
Yeah, no.
You're lucky you didn't get robbed, you know? You had your money and you're all good now.
Yeah.
How are you, mate? How you going, brother? What's your name?
I'm Neville.
Neville, Dicko, how are you?
Meanwhile, Dicko's busy making friends.
Yeah? You watch me on telly, and you're still prepared to shake my hand.
Yeah, you're not vlog.
Outspoken TV personality and former Australian Idol judge Dicko admits this trip into Aboriginal Australia provokes a deep-seated fear.
I'm worried about finding out that when push comes to the shove, I'm just a dirty big racist. You know, what happens if I find out that I've got a crushing sense of superiority? What happens if I, at the end of this, feel as dismissive of Indigenous cultures as some of my racist mates in the pub? What happens if I'm a racist? How do I deal with that?
And when it comes to Aboriginal people beating the booze, Dicko has a very personal and hardline opinion.
You know, I am a drunk, and I've stopped drinking for this show. And trust me, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Everyone's capable of getting off their arse and taking responsibility for their own life and the people around them. Everyone is.
But Dicko's about to discover from shelter manager Tanya why things here can be a little more complex for Aboriginal people.
Their whole life from the time they've been born, they've just been treated terribly, been bashed around, been molested, been abused, and had some really traumatic experiences, and then that's how a lot of times they end up here.
When you look at your clients, do you see failed lives?
No, I see clients have been through a lot of trauma. So we've had some clients here that have actually witnessed their child being murdered in front of their face, one traumatic thing after another, and then it's alcohol that will often ease that pain. It's an escape.
But Dicko's still weighing up what he's learned so far.
It's day one of a month-long journey. I don't want to jump to too many conclusions, really. I need to absorb this. I don't want to sound like I'm copping out on this, but I don't know. Look, it's the first time I've spent any meaningful time with Indigenous people in my life.
The night shift's almost over, and for some, it's been a confronting experience.
That's the deep end. That is like day one of actually getting out there and meeting people. That is like an extreme deep end. I'm exhausted and emotionally kind of drained, and these people are going to do it all again tomorrow night, and they're going to keep coming back, you know, forever, really.
The next day, and the group gathers. This has been their first contact. And they're already split about what the future holds for the older Aboriginal people they've met.
A couple of you said to us before we started that maybe you've got to lose this generation and get the kids and get the next generation. You were with the generation last night, Dicko. Would you lose them? Would you lose those men? Just let them go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
I don't think there's any way back.
But you came back.
No, I think there's.
What do you mean lose them?
Well, what I mean is, I don't think
you support them through what they're going through, but we don't think they can recover.
You mean give up on them?
We don't think they can recover. Is the thing.
Matt?
I just find that a strange thing to say. Lose them.
Tom, what do you think of that?
I mean, the thing I kind of kept thinking in the back of my mind is that I grew up in the same country as these people. I grew up in Warrnambool in country Victoria, and I just thought of how green it is and how lucky I was there. And then I found myself here, and that's a testament to how big this country is, but also to how different it is in different parts of this country.
We're dealing surely, Ray, with a series of related social issues. I mean, these people are not just black, they're in some cases homeless, in some cases alcoholic, in some cases suffering from all of those things plus mental disease. It's a social issue regarding the person's overall environment in which they live. That's what we're seeing.
But you don't think their overall environment and how they live has any relation to their skin colour and the way they're treated?
No, I don't.
Okay, good.
No,
all right.
I really don't. When you say the way they're treated, what's the way they're treated that's causing them to be like this?
You don't think that Indigenous...
No, don't ask me what I think. I'm asking you, what's the way they're treated that's causing this?
Well, I mean, again, I don't have all the answers in that respect.
Do you have any of them?
Are you right?
Yeah, I am. I want to know what you actually know.
I don't think you do, actually. I don't.
I do. I'm giving you all the opportunities. You're not coming up with any.
I'm saying that the marginalisation of Indigenous people and minorities and the treatment of them by white people over a long period of time has resulted in a lot of the social ills that these people are facing.
As far as award-winning stand-up comedian Tom Ballard's concerned, the David Oldfields of this world couldn't be more off the mark.
People on the right will tell you that, hey, no matter who you are in this country, if you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you can get out there and you can achieve. That's a lovely idea that is severely divorced from reality, because we don't all start at the same place in the race. It's pretty convenient that everyone who wants people to get over our bad history aren't descended from the victims of that history. So it's weird how it's sort of white, rich, privileged men who want to tell us that we need to get over it.
For Tom, the plight of Aboriginal Australians is no laughing matter.
I care about justice. I care about social justice. And when you look at the history of Indigenous people in Australia, the way they've been treated, it's unjust. There is an injustice that has occurred and that takes place every single day. And I want to hear from other people who disagree with me and find out what they think and tell them why they're wrong.
After their experience in the sobering up shelter, Tom and the rest of the group are being taken by local community elders and residents of Kununurra out on country.
We just have...
I'd say it's meat. It's supposed to be vegetarian, but I've broken that. It was really delicious.
Everyone's just really calm and really relaxed, and it's just great. It's just great being here. It's beautiful. It's really peaceful.
But Natalie and Tom are in for a shock. Everybody here is part of a very special support group. All are from families touched by suicide.
Diane and I, we both lost a child each on suicide. She lost her daughter, I lost my son. We also lost from our other sisters and brothers. Kids to suicide. Our youngest in our family was 11. He was 11-year-old. And after that, we just lost one after another. To me, it's like a normal thing in life now that they just, just take their lives, suicide. It's a common thing, it's getting to be. We as mothers and the ones that, it's our answer in our head is why. It's not a day go by, we think about them loved ones.
That moved me to tears because these were ladies who were very stoic and who had really been touched by tragedy, by suicide, and you feel helpless sitting in front of them and hearing their stories.
The Kimberley region has one of the highest rates of suicide anywhere in the world. The vast majority of those who take their own lives are men under the age of 30.
My youngest son died through suicide when he was 23. One succeeded and he didn't.
You attempted.
So he attempted to hang himself.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's impacted his vocal cords and everything.
Do you feel, if you weren't drinking, that wouldn't have happened for you?
Yeah, I think that the big issue drinking.
Well, he never talked much to me about it because men it's hard to talk to women.
Separate, isn't it? Women's business and men's business.
Yeah.
In the culture.
It's really hard, and because they don't know how to express themselves, especially to mothers.
At the time, I didn't think I had anyone.
You felt alone?
Yeah.
Llewellyn, do you think you're out of danger in terms of that as a possibility? You would never try it again?
No, never.
Why not?
Because I know when the culture of my family, I put my family hurt.
You feel guilty?
Yeah.
Too much hurt.
Get the message out.
Get the message out.
Yeah.
You're lucky to have your mum, Will.
Yeah, I know.
And she knows she's lucky to have you. That's very clear.
The group's time in Kununurra is at an end. The 6 Australians, including Awelagen Renee, are heading from Western Australia to the Northern Territory and a remote corner of Arnhem Land. Where Ray Martin will reveal the next stage of their immersive journey.
For the next 3 days, you're going to be the guests of the Yolngu people. The Yolngu people own this land. But you're going from this place down the coast for a couple of hours to a tiny homeland community. There are no street lights, there are no shops, there is no mobile phone, there's no doctor. You're going to hunt for your food, you're going to learn about language and about law, L-O-R-E. You're going to immerse yourselves in the longest continuous culture in the world outside of Africa. David, do you think that the Aboriginal Australians have anything to offer us at all?
Well, that's hard to say, Ray. I mean, no more than any other group of people that you might meet that you could glean something from their experiences. The Stone Age doesn't have a great deal. If we're talking about that type of culture, the Stone Age doesn't really have a great deal to offer the 21st century, and unless you want to maybe do a survival course in hunter-gathering.
I guess when I think about learning something from those cultures, if we look at their connection to land and their appreciation for nature and the environment, I think we definitely have some lessons to learn about that, the way we're destroying our environment in this country. I think we can definitely appreciate the traditional owners.
I mean, this is part of them. I'm not here to be politically correct or to dance around or try not to offend people by something that they really shouldn't be offended by.
Renee, can I ask you, what are you imagining? What do you expect to find in the next 3 days?
I don't know, I've got a million things running through my head. I'm just wondering if we don't hunt and find our food, if we're just going to starve to death. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I was nervous.
For model Renee Ayres, the only experiences she's had with Aboriginal people growing up in Perth have left her fearful.
I'm scared of Aboriginal people. I feel like they have an attitude towards me. One time I was spat on, and another time someone came up to me and just completely abused me. Yeah, it's kind of unforgettable.
And the former Miss Universe Australia admits to not knowing a great deal about the first Australians.
I don't really know much about Aboriginal culture at all, to be honest. Like, I really don't. I've heard of the Dreamtime, but I couldn't really tell you exactly what it is. What is it?
The second leg of the immersive journey is about to begin. Renee and the group will soon have their opinions confronted by people determined to keep their culture alive. The group's heading to the tiny homeland community of Bawaka, one of the most remote places in Australia. For all of them, it's a long way from home.
It's remarkable how foreign this country feels to, like, this area that we're in now.
I didn't even know this place existed, to be honest, until today.
It's like going to a country within your country.
The Yolngu people have a connection to this place that dates back at least 50,000 years. But the notion of Aboriginal people being custodians of the land is not something that resonates with Nikki.
I'm not bothered by the idea that it belongs to Aboriginal people because I don't really feel it. Sorry, but I don't. I just, I feel it belongs to everyone who's here.
For Nikki and the rest of the group, the question of who owns the land and what this means is about to be turned on its head.
You can come with us.
Thank you. Thanks.
This is the ancestral home of traditional owner and elder Timi Jawa Buruwanga. He and his family regularly return here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this place is given by the ancestors. Everything here is yours, even the waters, even the trees, sand. I want you to feel that. When I see you, I don't see your color. I have never seen a different colors. This land here today is your land. I'm giving you this land until you go. Please keep it.
As part of their welcome, the 6 are invited to be painted with red ochre. Ochre is considered sacred and believed to have spiritual powers. For Nikki, the experience is beginning to have an impact.
Sharing the land, saying we're equal, it's your land, it's our land, it was just beautiful. My eyes are opening to all of this, and I'm starting to see it very differently every day.
But not everybody in the group is quite so keen to join in.
Listen, I don't want to have to wash it off, so anywhere except the face.
No.
Yeah. My skin is very sensitive. I can't wear sunscreen. The last thing I really want to be is daubed in red ochre for 3 days.
I know why David didn't get painted, because he said he wanted to keep it on, and if it was on his face, he would wash it off. So, everyone's having their own experience, and you should do what you're comfortable with, I guess.
The 6 head to bed with tensions simmering. And by daybreak, they're set to boil over. Timmy's invited the group to the water's edge.
In here, there's a crocodile, jellyfish, stingrays. So we're gonna be challenged, we're gonna go and get some fish for food. We're gonna feed our family. And I reckon we're gonna all go in.
I'm keen.
Let's go this way.
I'm not going in, Tim, because I don't see it as necessary for me, but I'll watch and learn from the beach.
Well, I think it's best to...
Yeah, but it's not up for debate. I'm not going in. But I appreciate it. I'm going to watch and learn from the beach.
What's debate?
It means there's no point discussing it because you're not going to change my mind. I'm not going in. I'm happy to watch from the shore, and I'll be interested to see what everybody does. I'm happy to help with the net.
I know there's a lot of crocodiles here.
I have no concern for the crocodiles. I've walked amongst many stingrays and dealt with many sharks.
Well, why don't you explain why you don't want to go?
I just don't, because it's impractical as far as I'm. There's no necessity for me to do it.
David, for me, giving, like I said that I gave you a land.
Yeah.
And this is the home.
I don't want to go into.
With David standing firm on dry land, the rest of the group take to the water to fish for their lunch.
I got the net loop in between my toe and this one in my finger to make sure that it stays on the bottom. Just keep it down like that. Just keep it low, like I'm dragging. Yeah, and then pull it.
It's not long before the fish are biting.
Well, this is the catch so far.
It's lunch.
It seems like the catch is just in time. One of Timmy's family on lookout has spotted something approaching fast.
What's he saying? What's he saying? What's he saying? Move back. Crocodile.
What? Everyone should go down that way. Why? Big crocodile out there.
Where?
Maybe 3 or 4 meters.
No worries.
We should go.
You know what? There's one there.
Come on, this way.
Keep walking.
No, not that way. There's crocodile. He said this way.
Finally, with everybody safely out of the water, it's time to prepare the feed.
Oh, wow. I'm not doing it right.
But it's not long before Timmy wants to know what David's problem is.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure, Tim.
David, are you actually not accepting the oldest culture in this country? You're not accepting this. I need to know what's bothering you.
It's not something for me. I'm happy for
David,
it for you, but it's not something for me, Tim.
David, sorry, I accept it.
Yep.
In a dominant world, I accepted your law, your system. And you know that this country is so racist.
Oh, there are certainly people who are racist.
No, in the Constitution, this country is so racist.
Why is that?
We're not actually on the Constitution to recognise Torres Strait Islander people and Aboriginal people.
It doesn't recognise any group of people especially. It doesn't mention races.
One would argue that the omission of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in the writing of the Constitution is in itself a racist act.
How's that? The omission of everybody. It's an all-encompassing document for all people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had white people in mind, David.
Oh, now you're talking about what they had in mind over 100 years ago.
Well, seeing as it's entirely written by and provided for by white men.
Throw up every ridiculous viewpoint. It doesn't escape the fact there are no racist provisions.
Are you interested in dialogue with people? Because it really doesn't feel like you are.
I'm happy to talk to people who know what they're talking about and therefore have a proper discussion about it.
But David, do you accept it, or do you understand that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are the first people of this country?
Oh, certainly. Certainly.
Do you respect that?
It's a tough question because of... it's a tough question because of the way...
Do you respect that?
I don't disrespect Aboriginal people. For me, it's more a matter of acknowledgement. I acknowledge that the Aboriginal people were here before other people.
And I reckon, David, it's a time to actually respect. If we want to change this country, enough is enough, because we're the First Nation.
With the gauntlet laid down, David makes Timmy an offer.
Tim, I'm glad to have met you. I'm happy for you to live how you want to live. I don't want to take anything away from you. And if you feel uncomfortable with me being here, I will just as happily leave your land.
With the mood becoming fractious at Bawaka, Ray's brought the group together. After his confrontation with Timmy, David's decided to stay, for now. But he's back on the attack.
Just give me an overall impression, just sum up for me what you feel about this place as you leave. David, if you had to sum it up in a couple of words.
You know, really what we've had here is like with a group of Aboriginal people at their weekender.
David, can I ask, do you think the difference between what's happening here and the connection and the situation here and, say, a weekend, a holiday that other people might have in Australia is the ancestral connection to the land? That's the impression that I got throughout these past couple of days.
Look, maybe, you know, it's you've got to bear in mind our own ancestors did that once too.
You're just being negative again. It's just
no,
so
I'm not being
boring.
negative. I'm telling you what I think. I mean, from my point of view, where you're concerned, Natalie, I think that you're sort of blinded by the romance of the scenario rather than the reality. My thing is that it's not that different. It's not really unique.
Do you know the big difference?
Well, no, tell me.
This is our country. This is our heritage. We should be proud of this. We shouldn't be dismissing it and just shunting it off and saying you're just like those others. We should say, Jesus, this is fantastic. This is a wonderful piece of heritage that makes us feel complete, gives us the pride that we are one of the oldest civilizations on the planet.
Yes, it's not
fantastic.
a civilization, mate. You need to look that up in the dictionary. It was a society. It was a tribal, hunter-gatherer society. And Dicko, it isn't my heritage. I wouldn't claim it as my heritage.
Why?
Because it isn't. It's not related to me in that way.
You don't think that's positive? You don't think that's a positive move forward? You don't think that's a great move towards reconciliation? To say, do you know what? Can we have a bit of this? Can we be proud of this as well?
As debate rages, Timmy wants to talk to David one-on-one. Away from the glare of the group, he takes him to a deeply significant and personal place, his father's grave. After an emotional conversation, it seems the pair have more in common than either of them realized.
We found a bond in that we are sons of great fathers, and we talked about our fathers, we talked about our dads. His dad's name, by coincidence, his dad's English name is David.
And then I said, my dad passed away 12 years ago, and his dad passed away just recently. And both we were crying. He cried, there was emotion, and I cried. So he said that I have cried in your dad's graveyard.
It wasn't about being Aboriginal, wasn't about being white, wasn't really even about being Australian. It was about being people and being sons and having fathers.
The final day at Bawaka, and the group continue their cultural immersion.
Well, even just doing the leaves and smelling them, and it's making me quite relaxed.
By late afternoon, it's time to prepare for the bungal, a celebration of traditional Yolngu dance. And David, it seems, is willing to soften his stance.
I'm doing this for you, by the way. I'm doing it for you.
To be honest, I was quite touched. I just saw David being painted and saying that he did that for Timmy, and I just thought that was a very nice gesture. And yeah, I found that quite moving, to be honest. Because I think it's hard sometimes to admit that you did something not great or to change your ways. And I think it's a nice thing that he did. Yeah.
All that remains is for the six to step in time with their hosts.
Oh, this is great. I love it. I love dancing, and I have a very good teacher.
It's quite empowering. It's just the way you stamp your foot down on the earth. That's a real connection. You know, it's great. It just makes you feel alive. It's good stuff.
The group's stay at Bawaka is over.
I'm sad to be leaving, to be honest. These are some of the most beautiful people I've ever met. So open-hearted and loving and caring, and just the way their community works is so beautiful.
This is incredible. Not even because it's Aboriginal Australia. This is incredible anywhere around the world. These people are special.
And for some, the experience has been more emotional than they could ever have imagined.
I had no idea this kind of society even existed in this country. So thank you. Beautiful. Sorry to keep crying. I'm really happy.
Good joke. Good joke, my friend.
But as Nikki and the others say their farewells, they have no idea of the trials that lie ahead. Tomorrow night, the journey continues. The six discover what life is like in the town Australia forgot.
Probably the worst toilets in Australia.
Bit of a shock to me, the living conditions. I'm going to be sick.
I didn't think I'd see people living this rough.
These kids are living like this all the time.
The group lives with an Aboriginal family and experiences the reality of their lives.
We have a big housing issue.
Tempers quickly flare.
I'm not carrying on like anything, mate, just because you're willing to turn a blind eye.
Get out of my house. I don't want you here.
They can't clean up their own yard, mate.
They're trying their best.
Next, emotions are pushed to the limit as the group discovers a dark history.
So you were literally snatched?
Yeah, forcibly removed.
And then the journey becomes even more intense as the six travellers find out what life is like on the inside.
New intake will be strip searched.
I'm in a prison. I'm in jail.